Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. The field for November's general election for Billings City Council is now set. The ballots from the primary election for Yellowstone County have been counted, with the candidates competing in each ward now narrowed down to 2, and the results are in. Here are the top 2 candidates in each ward who voters will choose from come November. In Ward 1, Kendra Shaw and John Armstrong advanced by coming out on top of the 3-candidate race. In Ward 2, incumbent Roy Neese and candidate Randy Hines on top of that 4-person race. Heading to Ward 3 now, where there were no votes tallied tonight because there wasn't enough candidates to hold a primary. Both Danny Cheriki and Aldo Rowe advanced to the general election. And in Ward 4, a crowded race of 6 candidates, but Pam Purinton and Carmelita Dominguez rose to the top of that. And lastly, in Ward 5, where a 5-candidate race was whittled down to Mike Boyette and Dennis Alvstad. And for the full list of candidates and the votes they received, head to KTVQ.com. Well, voters in Shepherd deciding 2 bonds for the elementary and high schools that together totaled about $12 million. The $7.9 million elementary school bond passed by an 8% margin, and the high school bond, worth $3.9 million, passed by a 9% margin. Shepherd schools plan to use that money to build and repair the schools to accommodate for an anticipated 1% per year growth in the district over the next 25 years. Well, 5 years after Billings became the first Montana city to vote down a non-discrimination ordinance, City Council could take up that controversial subject once again. Back in 2014, former Mayor Tom Hannell was the deciding vote, striking down the ordinance 6-5, saying that the Billings community just wasn't ready. Last night, Councilmember Brent Cromley took the first steps to introduce a new non-discrimination ordinance. At the very end of the meeting, Cromley gave council members a month's notice, saying he'll bring the initiative on October 14th. In a letter to council members, Cromley based his support for the ordinance on economics, arguing that a non-discrimination ordinance is vital if Billings wants to remain economically competitive. 2014, that non-discrimination ordinance was drafted from other ordinances that passed in Bozeman, Helena, and Missoula. At the time, it drew criticism from community and council members about the language prohibiting discrimination in restrooms and locker rooms.
I know a lot of you will react badly to it at first, but I think you'll be convinced by the clear logic and the economic reasoning that I put into my background paper there. So again, it'll be October 14th. I'll bring the initiative.
Cromley's letter stated he intends to develop the language for the ordinance to be voted on by November. Well, tonight we are getting a better understanding of what those living in Warden are dealing with after bacteria was found in the city's water supply, prompting the Montana Department of Environmental Quality to recommend people stop drinking it. Q2's Andrea Lutz is tracking this issue, asking officials what could have infiltrated the water supply and what's being done to locate the source.
We're learning that by law, towns have to test their water every single year or month. And we're learning just how much testing Warden is actually doing.
He doesn't drink it, he swishes.
Yeah, I know.
In Warden, water worries aren't trickling away anytime soon.
I think with anything like that, you just sort of, I don't know, you adapt. Sorry.
And adapting is what families like the Switzers
so the bathroom is just
are doing.
To make it a little easier for the kids, we would get like gallon jugs.
Mom Darcy says since learning they couldn't drink their water, they've had to change some things.
5. Yeah.
And they've also installed this.
So this is what we've got going on now. It's just our reverse osmosis filter. You can see the different filters that it goes through there. It'll filter the water and then hold it so that you have a little bit more to work with.
Montana communities by law must test yearly for nitrates and every month for bacteria like E. coli. Recently, both were found in Warden's underground water supply. And now MTN is learning levels of nitrate have been creeping up higher and higher for some time. Finding the source is now the mission of the Warden Ballantine Water District, and they're even asking those on nearby well water to obtain a take-home test kit, one that looks like this.
And we're finding some wells aren't too good either. In fact, some of them are perhaps worse than what our city water was.
The water district uses chlorine to treat their water, but Fredericks fears other pathogens could also get into the water supply that are immune to their treatment.
So we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. We can't tell people to boil the water. We can't tell them that it's safe to use it at home.
He says they're trying to pinpoint the location of the source. And the Montana DEQ doesn't even require as much, but the district is taking some 500 samples a month.
They found pathogens in there that should not be in our water. That was very direct evidence that our water had been penetrated by a surface intrusion. It's purely speculation on our part, but we've seen 3 years of incredible snowmelt and runoff and incredibly wet springs. Where are they coming from? And is anything else coming in?
And until that's determined,
And then you can spit.
families like the Switzers will just have to keep using bottled water and making do.
Nobody's sick yet. And believe me, I know because there's 7 of us. So.
And ward and water officials say that probably in the future they'll have to decide whether to build a water treatment facility. In Warden, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Well, Yellowstone Valley Electric gave away 4 pallets of water in 1-gallon containers a little earlier today there to residents. One man is dead after his pickup truck rolled over on I-90 just around noon today east of Billings toward Hardin. Montana Highway Patrol says a pickup pulling a trailer was traveling westbound when the trailer started to fishtail. The pickup then lost control, entered the median and rolled. The driver was ejected from the truck and died at the scene. The passenger was helped out of the truck by witnesses and was helped flighted to a local hospital. Both the occupants were males in their 60s. Neither was believed to be from Montana. The men were not wearing their seatbelts, we're told. All right, turning to weather now. Hard to believe, Bob, but there is snow falling in parts of Montana.
Yeah, and we're going to show you some pictures in a few more minutes. But I tell you what, let me show you what's happening out there right now. It's been an active night across much of Montana. Let's go right to the Doppler radar, and we can show you the scattered showers and thunderstorms that are there. And you'll notice the bigger stuff was over there by Broadus tonight. We had, in some cases, basically silver dollar size hail moving into that region. And most recently, we've had dime size hail in that area. But so for the most part, we're looking at generally light scattered rain showers tonight. A lot of the inner year starting to dry up, and there's just not much going on. But look what's happening up in the higher elevations. Winter weather advisory from midnight and right until 6 a.m. Thursday, looking for 6 to 8 inches of snow above the 8,000 foot level. Meanwhile, up in northeastern Montana, starting tomorrow morning and going through Thursday morning, more heavy rain expected in that area. They've already had a lot of heavy rain. Ground is saturated, so we could see some flooding in that area as well. And so let me show you the forecast model shows tonight at 10 o'clock. Generally dry conditions here in Billings, but the rain starts moving in tomorrow morning. And then look at all the rain moving into eastern Montana. It'll just kind of pinwheel around and probably get Billings another shot at some more showers as tomorrow moves on. We'll have more on that coming your way in a few more minutes. Russ?
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. Well, state health officials urging Montanans to consider not using e-cigarettes or vaping products while investigations continue into lung diseases possibly linked to these products. Now, Montana does not yet have any confirmed cases of lung disease related to e-cigarettes, but is investigating potential cases here, we're told. About 30 states have identified 450 potential cases of severe lung disease possibly linked to e-cigarette use, and federal officials are investigating. Vape shop owners and their representatives that MTN talked to say they believe the incidents are linked to illicit substances being inserted into the vaping products. Now, the state is asking Montanans to report to health officials any unexpected health issues related to e-cigarettes. Coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, we're going to look into the latest shakeup to the Trump administration after another cabinet member is fired. Plus, while this teacher is fighting for his life, he continues to foster his love of teaching. We'll introduce you. And later in sports, senior tries to do something no one has done in almost 2 years. Beat the Skyview girls on the soccer field.
You're watching MTN News with Janelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.